There we go. Go live. Perfect. All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another amazing episode of I am going to soil myself. I was going to say soul myself. I'm going to soil myself. I am Amber Carvaly. I'm the creator of Mortician in the Kitchen. And would my lovely co-hosts like to introduce themselves?
Yeah, Melissa with the Modern Mortician and
Sandy, the Radical Reaper.
All right. Just as a heads up, I do have a bagel in the toaster, so if I disappear for a second, it's to get food. That was my bagel. I enjoy food. So what are we covering today? We are doing an update on let's call them the Rogue Embalmer. Because I have seen some people.
That's bad. I like Rogue.
What do you?
It's good for us.
Okay,
the naughty embalmer, the
naughty.
We don't even know if they're an embalmer. Just the naughty mortician.
The naughty. I had written, just because some people were like, we don't even want to put their name out there, so we'll just say like we're not going to put their name out there. We'll just say when funeral directors go bad. We'll talk about that. We're going to cover getting hurt at work, but not like workers' comp kind of like, oopsie whoopsie, I had a slip, but like the very like real severity of like how difficult this job is on our bodies. And then obviously the title gives away that there might be a puppy in one of our screens. So we have a puppy and we have some new products that we've already are almost sold out of, which is very exciting. I cannot wait to do like the QVC like products thing. So while I get my bagel, Melissa, do you want to start us off?
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to talk about they who shall not be named. So we posted about this last week. We discussed it. I showed Amber on live after some troubleshooting. And we, along with a few other funeral professionals online, began to share this information that we saw in order to locate the facility that this was filmed at. And what it was somebody had purposely set their phone up to film them dropping a decedent. And then another time they were scanning the room with their phone, catching multiple decedents in various states of undress in the room. And then it ended with what I assumed was a minor. It was somebody that looked to be under 18 years old. So when we reshared the information, I blocked that person's face out. So here's what we found, or here's what I posted when we went to look for this individual. Funeral professionals are rabid to find out who posted disturbing videos from behind the scenes in a prep room at a mortuary or funeral home. We are mad. We do not condone this behavior. I love the enthusiasm of those trying to solve the crime, but I don't love people running after innocent people with pitchforks, which can happen. And in this case, initially did. Followers were sending myself and another influencer online an individual's profile that was out of the Texas area. And it turned out it was not this person, which put this obviously a dire state of distress that all of these people are showing up at his profile. And it makes me wonder if the initial poster didn't make their names match on purpose to send us the wrong direction. But anyway, this is what we wanted to do, okay? We want to focus on the flooring and the equipment in the room to identify the individual responsible for the despicable actions. Focus on the flooring, the grates, the embalming stations, the storage of supplies. If you work in the funeral industry and you believe you've seen this room, this is what you do and do not do. And this should go forward for any time we find something like this. I mean, if you want more attention on it, but here's another thing you need to do. Do contact your manager and let them know you have concerns. Do document any evidence to compare with management. Do not call places of business over an assumption or a hunch. That can be very disruptive. Do not DM your favorite social media influencer with all your evidence. Do contact the state funeral licensing board in the state where the videos were made with your evidence and file a formal complaint. Okay, to let us know so we can bring attention to it, but yeah, that's a tight line. How should we like really word that? What's the best way to do it? She's got a bagel in her mouth.
I know. Unmute my mic. This is one of those things that I kind of think it goes into like to do a callback to our like ethics of language. I think that I think there's like a personal preference, because I think that people will just, you know, like I know there was one person who was like, I don't want to share their name because I don't want to put it out there. And I do think that they're not wrong, because I feel that way about sharing, like resharing super sensitive material that could be really triggering to people, where they're like, we don't need you to share this material to be believed. We would just like if you would just believe that this stuff happens. But in this case, it's, I don't know. I feel like it's, you give someone more power when you don't say their name. It becomes like a Voldemort situation where it's like, dude, this is just like, this is a jerk. Like, how do we find this person? Like, oh, well, DM me and I'll let you know. So I don't know. I in this scenario think that it's just fine to be like, this is the account.
Well, that would be those of us that have a following that get sent this stuff should restrict what we put out, repost it. But then I was like, there's other people's loved ones in there. Bloop, bloop, took it out. But it takes me a minute to think, because again, I don't have a PR team, and this likes to jump and get stuff done. So I act when I can. So yeah, so the update is this individual has been identified. It is rumored that they have been terminated from their employment. The facility or funeral home or location, whatever it is, it was identified by employees through the posts, and through the posts that we made with like just the cuts and stuff. So thank you for everybody that did your due diligence and looked around and noticed a problem. I'm not saying this person was fired because of our post, but they found out that this person was fired because of that post. It ended up, I don't know. It all fit into place. Everybody, you did a great job. And this brings to question the other guy that everybody's talking about, something swole on TikTok, that was in Vegas and was fired. We were kind of talking about that for posting all those videos, and that individual still posts videos from old footage.
Oh, sorry. Responding to.
Say again.
I was responding to our. You know, if anybody's watching on YouTube, you're welcome to live talk, and I will respond. I'm the moderator on that. I don't know if I know this Vegas person, but I feel like in the spirit of us just talking about like, let's not encourage people to go look at stuff. We can discuss that later. But yeah, that's good. I think again, this falls into like, it's really hard for me to understand like, you know, why this guy thought it was appropriate, because like we see so many videos. Like I was on TikTok and I was like really overwhelmed by the amount of like morticians who like were posting really great content, and it made me feel like really insignificant and small in like a really complimentary way to them. Like I was like, wow, there are so many people out here like just like posting all of this, like these videos about them in their embalming room, and like I don't have that, and like in my kitchen, and I'm like, pay attention to me. And I've got no like fancy things. But I can see, to have some sort of conversation of like empathy and love, I can see how like someone who lacks those kind of like social skills or awareness might not understand, you know, because it's like everybody's just sort of like pushing the line. Like, what is the difference between, and I know what the difference is, but let's say it this way. Like, what's the difference between doing a video on like iconic corpses and headless corpses, or like floating heads, or like talking about Tibetan sky burial and like sharing videos on that? And like, I could see how like a young person might just be like, oh, this is really cool. This seems like what people are into. And just being like, no. And that's where I think it does come back on us as people who have a voice to really continue to discuss like what we feel is ethical. You know, like the other girl saying like, hey, you know what? I actually don't think it's ethical to even say their name. I think we can have a conversation. And I took that, and I mean, she wasn't talking to me. I was watching her video on it. And I was like, yeah, I can understand and respect that. I think that both things can be true. That's usually the way that I lean. But obviously, like, you know, there's a pretty hard line when it comes to disclosing personal information, because that would be like your therapist being like, I mean, you know, I have friends. What was I going to do? Not talk about like all your dirty secrets that you told me in therapy? And it's like, yeah, that's exactly what you're supposed to do. It's like a Seinfeld joke, you know, like the rabbi who's like, I was talking to my neighbor the other day, a young woman who we'll call Elaine. It's like, okay, well, we have to know, like, they're, you know, you don't drop dead bodies, you don't show dead bodies. But I don't know. I think that sometimes people, I was about to sound like an old person and be like, I don't know, you've seen video games these days? And I realized that that's not actually what I meant, but I could just see that everybody's playing with like a different set of cards, you know? I don't know. I don't know if that sounded insensitive. I didn't mean it to be, but.
All right, segue into damage to our bodies.
Yeah. Oh, hold on. We did get a comment about like that there should be social media training in mortuary schools, maybe.
Oh my God, yeah.
I will say Forest Lawn had like a zero tolerance policy on social media. That was their, you know, that was their policy. Like, do not have an account. Do not say that you had a good funeral today. Do not say you had a bad funeral today. Don't even say you're a funeral director. Don't exist. And I think that that's extreme. But also I understand why, because it's like, what if you said like, hey, LOL, had a really great funeral today. And then I'm like, oh, I'm really glad that my mom's murder was a great funeral for you, because it was actually the worst day of my life, but good for you. Glad we paid you 20 grand so you could have a good day at work. Like, that's like, just see how that just easily gets out of hand. So yeah, it really is like such a philosophical, ethical debate on like hard lines of privacy, but then stuff like that, you know? So sorry. Okay, so getting hurt at work, is that where we're going?
Yep.
All right, take another bite of my
Sandy
bagel.
looks like she's in pain. Are you in pain, Sandra?
A little bit. You know, my back's not feeling great, but we're doing okay.
Tell us, how do you feel like telling us what's going on? What happened?
So I'm having some back issues right now. And a lot of it turns out my doctor said it's from past trauma to my back, which I can only imagine to be the funeral work that I've done for like the past 12 years. You know, I hurt my back pretty badly back when I was just an apprentice. There was an individual that was in a very precarious position at their home. And, you know, everyone's always like, oh, well, you have to lift a certain way. And every mortician knows that goes right out the window the second that you have to go into a removal, because not everyone passes away in a hospital bed, you know, and a lot, you know, they might be on the floor, on the third floor of an apartment, out on their deck, you know, it's, so you have to, typically you're bending, you're moving in ways that you don't necessarily expect to be moving, and people aren't always light. And, you know, sometimes it's a little bit harder to maneuver someone than it is, you know, someone who passes, again, in their bed, it's easy peasy. But when you're on the floor or at the top of an apartment stairs, it doesn't really matter how little or big you are. That crap is hard on your body. And some people are just harder than others, you know, it's a pain. And after I worked for a transfer company for a while, and not even very long, but just the work I did in that time. Besides, we spend a lot of time, you know, driving in our hearses, and depending on where you work, there's a certain funeral around here where if you're a woman and you are going to be in the presence of families, you have to be wearing heels that are 3 inches. And I know there's other funeral homes like that. They're not unique. You know, some places are very old fashioned. And if you've had a hard day and you've been out on your feet all night doing removals, and now you have to go into work and prance around in this funeral in this church, and you're wearing 3-inch heels, that crap is hard on your body, and it gets hard fast. And, you know, I'm only 28 years old, and I'm having to deal with the repercussions already because of injuries that I endured while doing transfers that were less than ideal situations.
And what do you think?
Oh,
yeah.
It's hard because, you know, we have to be able to do it, you know,
right.
Like we have to be there.
do you think what do you think are some solutions to this? Because I think that other people could be like, oh, like if you're a firefighter, I think firefighters can definitely, like firefighters, EMTs probably experience a lot of the same issues. I mean, the dress code is always a bit silly because I know we were supposed to wear pantyhose and they would prefer if we wore skirts, but we didn't have to. We were allowed to wear pants if we wanted. So I always wore pants and like dance code clogs or something like that. But yeah, it's like, well, trying to like lift a casket or like lift a body or do anything like that in pantyhose is like absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah. And, I think the number one solution is just making sure you send adequate staff. And it's hard when it's like 3 o'clock in the morning and you have to go to someone's home or, a lot of these cases, I think that we can all attest our funeral homes have been understaffed and so much of the pressure gets put on us. So not only are, we're stressing our bodies, but we're exhausted. And that's why we end up hurting ourselves. We're not thinking clearly. We've had long days. We've had long nights. We've got so much stress on our shoulders. We're having to think about 100 different things at once while we're standing in front of, people's loved ones, having to take their loved one into our care, which is a very, very, that's quite a moment. And it's such an honor to be able to be there and serve families during that. But, it's hard on us as well. And I think that people sometimes really, they don't necessarily think about those things.
Yeah, I think that all of this goes into why what we're talking about is so important. I just want to think carefully about how to like form this sentence. People shouldn't have to supplement our incomes. Everyone deserves a fair wage. There will always be in any business, like this is out of my price range, or this should be lower, or there's always going to be people that are like sort of racing to the bottom, and there are always going to be people who are in an unfortunate position to accept low wage jobs because they don't have any other option and they just need to get something, which is sort of a perfect storm for having people like that kid in the prep room who probably was just like, oh, this seems cool. I mean, I bet you he wasn't getting paid $35 an hour. I bet you he was getting paid 15, 16 bucks or even like less. And like, this is what happens when you don't pay enough is like, I'm not saying that you get what you deserve at all. But there is there's not, I don't think the word is, there's like an incongruency. I want to use the word that says like, if we want to provide people a low-cost funeral, which I think everyone deserves because everyone has to die, and I don't think that people should have to pay a lot, there has to be some sort of reconciliation here because you can't have a cheap funeral, but you also can't pay a living wage if your like return on a service is $100, and then you also have like insurance and vehicle repairs and licensing fees and overhead and everything else. So we have that. So that's one part. But then the second part is that, so I have a story because I always have stories, and I feel I can tell this story because I wasn't involved and we ended up not serving this family, and I tried to recover the family and I got yelled at, and I stood behind my first call drivers. And so for people that don't know, first call is these are the people that come to the house and pick you up. So my first call drivers were sent out. They were a third party that we contracted with. They got to the home and they asked the family if they would mind helping because I think they were struggling. And that's all we need to say. They were struggling and they asked the family for help. The boyfriend of the decedent completely lost his shit, threw them out. And I almost think might have quite literally thrown them out, like might have like cartoon grabbed them by the backs of the collars and threw them out because he was in such a horrific, I'm sure he was like in a horrific state of grief. He called me, I'm like, hey, like I get a call from my first call drivers and they're like, hey, we just got thrown out. We don't know what to do. He won't let us come back in. And I'm like, tell me what happened. They're like, well, look, she was in a place where we were using a bed sheet. We were trying to use the bed sheet. We asked the boyfriend if he was able to help us because we needed assistant. He got upset and threw them out. But then was calling me and he's like, you need to send someone back here. And I was like, absolutely not. Like, I'm not I talked to my first call drivers, and the way that the situation sounds, like I didn't hear anything inappropriate. And like, again, I say this all the time, but like I've waited tables forever. So like, I am not going to throw low wage workers under the bus. Like you're talking to the wrong person. Like I'm standing behind, because like as someone who's been thrown under the bus so many times where it's like, oh my gosh, like your waitress spilled a drink when you hit it out of her hand. I'm so sorry. Let us buy your dinner. It's like, they did that. And he was like, well, these asshats, these clowns, and like a whole bunch of other things. And I was like, you know what, sir, I'm really sorry. It does sound like they were trying to do their best. You know, if we can recover in any way, like I want to help you, but you can't abuse my staff, and like, you know, not going to be like third-party contractors. And so this girl's mom calls me later and she's like, yeah, I'm just trying to figure out where my daughter is. And I was like, we don't have her in our care. I'm so sorry. There was an incident with her boyfriend. You might want to reach out to him. I'm still happy to have someone come back, but like he needs to take some time. Like he's not allowed to yell at people. And then, so the story is almost over because there's kind of a delightful punchline where she calls me back later and she leaves me a message and she's like, yeah, so I talked to Brian and he actually just said that you were an asshole and that he doesn't want to go with you. And I was like, oh, okay. So I don't know where that girl is now or how her mom's doing. I hope she doesn't still have to talk to that girl's boyfriend because he sounds
delightful.
Like just a real nice person. But I just thought it was really funny that I was also an asshole. I was like, sir, okay, I'm not going to fight this guy, but all of that saying that, like, had he been a supporter of the death positive movement, and in this circumstance, I'm going to say mazel tov to everybody out there that is putting this information out there, because came too late with this guy, and the thought of him helping to move his loved one out of the apartment ended up in him maybe possibly assaulting my drivers, calling me an asshole to this girl's mom. She was like, she said it so funny and sweet too. Yeah, he says he just doesn't want to go with you. He said you were an asshole. And I was like, oh, well, all right. I've been called worse. Right. So these conversations are important because it's like, I don't think that my drivers should be hurt when they make, I think that they made like $100 a removal. It worked out to something that's
100. Oh my God. I used to only get 40.
That's terrible. Yeah. So that they can potentially have a lifelong injury. That, like, my dad was a bus driver and my dad has like a horrific herniated disc and he totally got screwed around by his company. They were, like trying to fire him before he hit his retirement. So they didn't have to give him any money. I'm so pro the workers, like pro workers' rights, you can't, like, we're not disposable. And that's how they treat a lot of these people, is that first call drivers are treated really disposable and they pay them a disposable wage. And now you're 28 and you're, we don't,
Wait,
you
feel
28?
She had a birthday.
Yeah.
You're 28 now?
28.
Happy birthday!
28. Yeah.
I had to start saying I was 28 early because I couldn't. Apparently I'm already like 100 because I never remember how old I am. So I had been saying that I was like 27 the entire year that I was 26. I was like a year ahead already. And then I did the math and I was like, wait, I'm just now turning 27. So then this past year I was like, as soon as it hit like 6 months, I'm like, you're 28, you'll be 28. So now I am officially 28.
Welcome. Yeah, I forget how old I am all the time. That's totally normal. But you're far too young to be experiencing the kind of insane back issues that you're having. And I would think, like, if we lived in a society where you could be like, hey, so together we are going to safely lift your mother out of my great grandpa died on the toilet. I don't think he was a great person, so I don't really feel bad ratting him out. I mean, he's dead. He's been dead for a while. But, like, that's not an uncommon place for people to go. I feel like I know you wanted to say that earlier and you weren't sure if you should, so I'll say my great-grandpa. I'll use him as an example. Died while going to the bathroom. Seems like a nice way to go. But he was really tall, and I have no idea how they yanked him out of that bathroom. But I'm sure they probably needed help. And I think that, like, just being like, hey, as a family, let's pick up your grandpa and take him out of the house. Let's put him in a more respectful place. The sooner the better. But we're all terrified. We're terrified. We're like, oh my God, if I like bump his head, like they're going to freak out. Understandably, someone just died. I'm not a monster, everybody. I know I just continuously sound like maybe I am an asshole. But yeah.
Yeah, I fell during a removal once. We were going down the stairs and my shoe got caught and I fell with this person's loved one and their head landed right in between my legs with the reeves, the portable stretcher. For those who don't know what reeves are, they're, you know, but yeah, they just like landed right there. Family was horrified. They were calling me every name in the book. And I understand that it was traumatic. I'm not, but I didn't do it on purpose.
Right.
I quite literally fell. I recovered as soon as possible. I didn't let their loved one hit the ground. I let their loved one hit me. I didn't want, I did everything that I could, but, again, I totally understand being upset, but like they were calling me every name in the book. I'm like, look, man, I definitely didn't just do that on purpose. I wasn't attempting to be disrespectful with your loved one. I lost my footing and I fell.
Yeah.
And, there were hardwood stairs. It was slippery. I lost my, but, and things like that happen. It's not, we're not perfect. We're people. I'm
Right.
clumsy. I fall.
How
I'm
many
not.
of us have been on a removal where it's been like parkour, where you've been in a small space and you're like bending all these different ways and then having to dead weight lift 250 pounds off the ground, much
Right.
less maneuver
Yeah.
a cot that weighs what, 75 pounds, 60 pounds,
Yeah.
maybe more, depending on if it's an oversized cot. Or
And then
when you're
all of a sudden a cat runs in between your feet.
yeah.
I have a great addition to that because it's even better when the girls and look. I wish I could say the mix, but I worked with all girls at Forest Lawn in the embalming room, and they basically as like a hazing thing made me like move and lift a person who was about 350 pounds, and I was like, I really need help, and like I didn't. What if if I dropped her? I would have been horrified for her, not for I would have done anything I could, but it was like such a horrific thing because they refused. And if any of those girls ever see it, text me, call me, fight me on it. I am not taking that back. I know exactly who this person was, and they refused to help me. And I was like, I really need help. And I was trying to move her from her table onto the embalming table. And I was like, I really need help. And they're like, you know what? We're all girls here and we can all do it. And you don't, basically saying you don't get special treatment. I was like, certainly not asking for special treatment. I'm asking for help out of respect of this decedent. I need help moving her. And they wouldn't. They went into the other room. I'm sure had a really great laugh at my expense. And I cried. I was trying to move this woman and I didn't want to hurt her. And I was so scared and I was so angry. And I just stood there in the embalming room and I just put my hands over my face and I just started crying because I was like, I cannot understand why this is happening. This is so upsetting. I think that I'm a really nice person, not to make this about me, but I was like, what did I do to make you so angry and so hateful that you think it's appropriate to make me do this? So anyways, if you want to be mean to people, watch what they will do, because I have spent the last 10 years just plotting my revenge and gaining followers so I can be like, you guys will regret that you ever did that. I'm just kidding. It's not why I did this. Okay, nobody wasn't taking that serious. I'm just kidding. I'm
byproduct.
But it is, yeah.
Take note and look at how awesome you are because they missed out on having a really cool friend.
I made cookies at work. I was so nice. I was always thinking about food even back then.
They missed out on having a really awesome friend. So joke is truly on them.
Yeah, it was. Also, you got a bunch of birthday wishes. You can receive. Yes, all of these, the moderator side will get saved in here, so we can review that.
Cool. Thank you, guys. Yes. Thank you.
Brilliant 512. Do you know? They seem to know they met you when you were 25. Said you were quite mature.
512.
Yeah, I assume
that's like an Austin area code.
Oh,
know anyone in Austin?
I do. But I don't know. There's a couple folks I know. I don't want to start shouting people's names.
I know.
Yeah, I might know. I'll have to look.
Right. There's a 60-second delay. So as we talk about this, it's like, and then they're going to get it. And then it'll go back through. So we'll get there together at some point.
And if I don't know who you are, but you can always message me on Instagram and tell me who.
It's Heidi. Oh, it's Heidi.
We love Heidi.
Yeah, she did. You met her at NFDA in Chicago.
Yes, 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 yes. We had a blast. That's right.
Kermit was there.
All right.
Kermit the dog. My
Hello,
baby.
Heidi. We always want to shout out Heidi.
We
Anyway,
love
so
Heidi. Heidi is freaking awesome.
So, what are we segueing into our next topic? Are we still talking about injuries?
I just want to wrap it up by saying, like, I need us as a society to just think about how we feel. Like, obviously, people you shouldn't have to pay $2,000, $3,000 because we all know what will happen if you pay that to SCI. It will go to the stockholders who are invested, quite literally, in SCI, and they'd be like, "Woohoo! We raise prices." Like, it never goes to the workers. Oh, I do have a good thing to finish it up. When I worked at Forest Lawn, I was told not to join a union and that someone was trying to constantly unionize the workers there. And it was specifically told, which I feel like is illegal. I don't think that you're allowed to. So Forest Lawn, you might want to get on the right side of God there. And because we all watched what happened with Starbucks. But they did tell me not to unionize and not to sign anything. And look how well that worked out for me. It was phenomenal. Thanks, not being in a union.
Well, you know what's crazy is I actually tried to attempt to. My partner was very critical in unionizing the program, one of the places where she works, and she helped to start a union in her career. And I attempted to unionize morticians here in Maryland. And I had maybe 2 people who showed interest. Maybe they were like, we just don't think it's a good idea. And I'm like, so you don't think a union would be a good idea for us as morticians so we can protect our rights? And they were like, just don't like the sound of it, bro. So I was like, all right, well, I guess that I can't have a union all by myself.
How many of us have actually been shown an NDA or a non-compete when getting a job in the funeral industry? Yeah, unions would take care of that, kids. It would also make sure you got a living wage and really good insurance. They had a union at Mountain View Funeral Home in Tacoma. The union wasn't that great because the funeral professionals that were involved in it value, like they were not valuing themselves at what they were worth. Because $26
we would have created a badass union.
Oh my God. Well, look, when my church gets going, who knows what that church will be? I know what it is on paper, so hopefully it gets approved. Thank you, government. Thanks, government. I love you. Approved by church.
Woo, Uncle Sam.
Yeah. This is what happens when you don't let me unionize. I start another form of Christianity because I feel like maybe then I can reach out to people. Be like, well, what would Jesus do? Jesus would totally start a union. By the way, that man was for the rights of the people, for the rights of the workers. So
100%.
I believe that Jesus would support what I'm doing.
Okay. Absolutely would have loved this.
Okay, segueing. Oh, we calmed it. We're only at minute 35. We're actually doing really well. I feel like we're plugging along. Okay. Wait. So what is the next segue? Is it the puppy? Is that why we're
about the puppy?
It can be puppy or soaps.
I feel like puppy. I feel like it's time for a puppy.
Puppy?
Yes.
All right. We have a very sleepy Indy, but are you ready to meet the new foster? And feel free to offer up whether or not you think I'm going to adopt this dog within the next 2 weeks.
But you are. Yeah.
Are we ready to see the sleepiest boy? Look at that. Sorry, I'm trying to. He fell asleep with his little toy in his mouth earlier. This is Indy. He was named after Indiana Jones, which is definitely a good fit for him because he is extremely adventurous. We picked him up at about 11 a.m. this morning, and as you can see, he has had a very, very rough day. We had our very, very first experience in grass, and we don't know how we feel about it yet. We're still deciding. Grass is weird. Grass is weird on our poles. We got, look at the little tootses.
Yeah, let's see the toe beans.
Look at these beans.
Yay!
And
he's like,
I love him.
He's so cute. And he's got little floppy ears, and his little tail has a little black tip.
Look at his tummy.
He does. Unfortunately, our friend Mr. Indy, he is a little sick. He came to us with some parasites, so we are on some medication because we do have some worms in our poo.
Aww.
But he has already made himself at home. He has determined that underneath of my table here is his place, so I laid a towel down, and he likes to be under there. And so this is he is a very sleepy boy right now. We have had a very, very busy day.
Oh my goodness.
What rescue group are you fostering with?
We are fostering with Small Miracles. They are out of Ellicott City, Maryland, and you all should definitely check them out. They are a great group, and they are very, very tiny, very family owned, and close to home. Those animals all get treated like gold, and they allow me to foster beautiful puppies like Indy here. And they have lots of other dogs that need really amazing homes. So anyone in Maryland looking for a pup, I don't know if you can have Indy yet, but there's other great dogs available.
Doesn't Indy have siblings?
Indy does have siblings. Indy has, I believe, 6 other siblings. And they are all currently being housed in Maryland right now. You can find them on Pet Finder.
All right, Maryland. There are six other. What do you know? What breed he is?
His mom is about 45 pounds. And she appears to be some kind of hound dog mix. But we are a beautiful little mutt, and we're probably going to be about 45 pounds or so, a medium sized.
Sweet angel. What is it? It's like not a. Oh my gosh! I feel like I can see in his little face, like his little
Yeah, he's got
hunting.
like that almost like Sorry, I'm trying to get a good angle on him because he's got his little belly out. Oh, there we go. There. Oh, sorry, I'm terrible at this, everyone. There he is.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, he's got like this cute little snout. He does. He could maybe like a Rottie Rottie hound mix of sorts.
Yeah.
And he's got like a soft little short coat and the floppy ears. It's definitely got that little snoot,
Yeah. All right.
And he's a
Well,
killer.
He will not get up. I don't know where to go.
Kermit is like, whatever.
Come here.
Kermit's like, I don't need to meet, but he'll let me know if she keeps it. Then we'll talk.
Yeah. Well, I'm very excited about the puppy. I feel like we will have to have weekly updates. We'll now have to include puppy updates.
Oh, yes. Indy would. And hopefully next time, once our little man here I can't bear myself to wake him up from his little nap because he has just had such a tough day. He's eating great, playing well, though. So we have high hopes for Indy.
Oh, Indy.
And big shout out to Small Miracles. Oh, look, Kermit.
See? Look
You got him. Kermit, you have a brother.
Look at there. Say hello to the puppy.
You got a little
Kermit's
foster
like,
brother,
nah.
Kermit.
That's okay.
Oh, and the ear is out for us.
Oh.
Nice. Excellent.
I think we should just do an hour of us looking at puppies.
Petting at dogs.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh,
it's just one of us going somewhere and being like, look at this puppy. Look at this puppy. Look at this puppy.
Oh my gosh, yes. Yes.
It is.
You stink. I gotta give you a bath.
All right. Is that our segue into soaps?
I
Yes,
do believe
yes.
so.
Okay. All right, guys.
I will leave the camera on Indy because he's more interesting than me. And I have someone knocking at my door, so bear with me.
All right. This is a good time to do our QVC portion. So look at, this is like a regular Price is Right. We have adopt, spay, and neuter. And now we have our lovely soaps that Heidi has already purchased 3 of. So we are now down to 3 sets of soaps, everybody. We have Melissa, do you want to talk a little bit about the artwork on these?
So the artwork was actually submitted by, I believe, followers on the Naughty Coffin, possibly. I don't even know at this point, but I know they are, and I saved them a bar of soap to send it to them. by us. So those folks are actually tagged by their art, and they'll be getting a free bar of soap as soon as I have money to mail it to them.
That's right. Buy these soaps so that we can mail more soaps. I like that we're I feel like we're like Muppet entrepreneurs. Like we're adorable and silly, and we just like every episode we just kind of keep getting by, and we're just like, "Wah." We're like, buy these soaps so we can make more soaps. What's your face? You're making a face. Hold on. Let me
read your text.
Okay. Oh no.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sandy had a little family emergency to run handle.
No more puppy. Oh my gosh.
We got Kermit. Look here.
We do have Kermit. Okay, so we'll finish this up by. Don't worry, Heidi. She said, "Oh my god, I didn't mean to wipe out half the supply." Here's the thing. These are limited edition, so there's only 6 sets of these, but we are going to turn your soap money into more soap. And I have a bunch of artwork that I'm really excited to use, but right now this was like a really great, like, I liked that this was like follower engagement thing. So so this alkaline hydrolysis was within Wild Light. One last spa day, alkaline hydrolysis. I feel like I want to make sure that I say the artist's name because I think
nice.
Yeah, we have scientific donation. Natural burial. Cremation, which is by Dylan's Workshop Official.
Yes.
We have Open Casket, which is by Crawdaddy 512. All right, Crawdaddy. I can't say Crawdaddy without giggling. I hope that that's okay. And Natural Organic Reduction, which is by Pinky Ray Tattoo. So each of these scents is different. We have 3 sets left from our limited edition Naughty Coffin soaps. They will come to you in a box, obviously. And yeah, and then we hope to use that. This will go towards funding the end mortuary conservation burial park. But we'll have more soap up afterwards.
We are looking at other, well, obviously Amber's hand art pick, but we are picking out different kinds, so you're not getting the same kind next time. We have new art and new options, new scents.
Although we might repeat, which one of these has like
the one with all the little flower petals.
Oh, I haven't opened that one. I think whatever I opened had like, it was like exfoliating mahogany and
one.
Yeah.
So that's spiced lavender. Yeah, we can always reuse those. There's a lot of them.
Yeah, the exfoliation on it was amazing. So if you would like to purchase the last, count it, guys. This is how QVC does it. They create like a franticness. Yeah, here. Like if this was a video where I figure out how to put stuff in it, I'm gonna go like this, and I'm gonna look at it, and I'm gonna go, "Oh my God, Melissa! It looks like we only have 3 sets left."
Oh my goodness!
Oh my gosh!
Flying off the shelves.
They are just flying off of the shelves. So please go to morticianinthekitchen.com. Click on the shop, and the soaps are on the first page. It's 6 soaps. They are $45. It's free shipping. The shipping is obviously included in it. I know that you guys all know that when it's free shipping, it's probably because it's in the price. And if you want to buy all 3, message me and I will cut you a deal on shipping. I grew up in a postal service friendly family, so I'm very good with shipping prices, and I'm super on top of, I was always really proud of myself for doing that, but I very proactively refund the shipping to be correct, so that you feel like I respect your time and your money, because we work really hard and so do you. And this is about selling art to make more art, for me at least. So, and also if you're at home. So do we have anything else? I obviously keep dropping that I have filed paperwork to start start my own church, which I can't say without laughing, but I want you to know I take me very seriously. It will be a place to also facilitate and help people with funerals and funeral expenses. And in my fantasy world, it will be a building where people can bring their loved ones in who are unembalmed, since that was always the most difficult thing for me, was that like nobody would take an unembalmed body. It had to be embalmed. And I thought that that was really like cruel because as we've discussed before, the unembalmed body is fine. So in my dream world, I have a really nice place that is sort of non-denominational, because as funeral directors, we serve everyone, and I want everyone to feel safe with me. I respect whatever your beliefs are. And I respect if you don't have any too. That's fine. I have absolutely no answers to anything. I know nothing. I'm like Jon Snow. So I know literally almost nothing about anything, but I do know that I love people, and it would be cool to have a place in LA where people could come that wasn't the crematory, because the crematory was fine. And thank you so much to my crematory for allowing us to have people there. But I also dream of a beautiful place in LA for people to have services where they can invite their congregation and have everybody and feel safe and loved and cared for. So that's what I'm
all
doing.
Cultures,
That's
all backgrounds, all religions.
Everything
one place.
Everything in one place. It is named after a saint. Yes. I mean, because she's a really cool saint. Her name is Saint Bridget. So the filings right now, if my paperwork goes through, is Our Lady of the Perpetual Flame, which I feel like is appropriate for obvious cremation reasons. The flame that never goes out. The fact that you and I think, will be angry, curmudgeon-y fighters till the day we die. We have hearts. Our hearts are full of fire and flames. And St. Bridget also brewed beer, and I brew beer. And she is, she's like the protector of people and animals. And I think that I could be a descendant of said Celtic goddess / saint, because I am 98% Irish and like 2% Greek. So I'm Irish.
Splendid.
So yes, what do you have? Anything else to promote?
Other than the soaps, I'd say we're lingering into the last 15 days of ordering any plants from that website before it's not planting season. That fundraiser will come again in the fall. I believe it might be available. And so we'll be, in the meantime, looking for other avenues. I am, move your leg. Let's see. I just stuff and things and stuff. I don't know what's going on right now.
Nobody ever knows what's going on. That means that you're living and you're in the moment, is what I think. So I think that's perfect.
Great. Yeah. Everything is awesome.
We're doing
figuring it out. I've got a lot of content to post this week, so just stay tuned with the Modern Mortician.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
You're on.
So make sure to follow at the Modern Mortician on Instagram, at the Radical Reaper. I'm Mortician in the Kitchen. We have more episodes of I'm Going to Soil Myself. I haven't quite figured out YouTube, so you might have to go to like the live category to watch them, but they're there. Follow us, like us, subscribe to our newsletters, follow us on Patreon. Help us continue to make the world a better place, because things are really scary every single day. So we're so happy to have you here. Thank you to Heidi. Thank you to Miss Hattie Lamar. Thank you, Kat, and somebody else. Beachdog.com. I'm not sure.
Kelly!
Okay, I was going to say, I figured 4-letter word cards was also
on. Michelle!
Nice. Hetty is also forever Hetty Lamar. Is how I will only address you. Yeah.
Thank you all for joining us.
Thank you guys. All right, I am gonna end the stream over here. Goodbye again.
He's like, nope, you don't have a cookie. He's like, nope, back to the massage. Okay, back to the massage. Bye, you guys. Thank you so much.